So starting off, let's just start with this header overview and go over some of the parameters over here. Starting off, you've got file option. If you click this, it opens up a contextual menu where you can create new projects, open older projects, and save projects, or even save them as templates. So any button that has this little icon over here opens up a contextual menu. The next button is the play button. So this is just going to determine the playback functionality with Bitwig. If I click this, I can change different options and different modes. And this is talking about the playback functionality of the playback within the arranger. So you've basically got two different views within Bitwig Studio. You've got the arranger view and the clip launcher view. But I will get into that in more detail. One thing I do want to show you over here is you've got these little pin icons. And basically, you can pin things to add them to the header. So for example, this is the automation write mode. And I have an automation write mode set to latch, and that is pinned over here. So if I unpin this, you see it disappears. And this is just to give you some access to most used actions that you want to add into your header. For example, if I wanted to add the overdub functionality, I could pin that and it adds that as well. So these are just actions that are pertaining to the playback within Bitwig Studio. Then you've got your transport play button. So that's just going to start the playhead. You can stop, you can record. And if I hit record, it's going to set the automation mode as well. And if I hit play, it's going to start the metronome and then start recording onto that track. So that was a pre-roll that was set up that came in with the click. And then as it started playback, the metronome turned off. These are all things that you can change the behavior within Bitwig Studio. For example, if I go over here, I could say on playback, I want that metronome. For now, that metronome was only playing back on the pre-roll setting. As you saw, this was the automation write mode that was armed when I recorded. There's also an automation mode over here where I went to here and chose to pin that. I can turn that off, so I don't need that. And this has got to do with how recording works. So there's a new feature where you can record to takes. So I can turn this on, and as I record, it's going to make multiple passes and multiple takes within a recording that I will show you later in the series. Over here is just a display that's giving you more information with regards to the project. For example, you've got your tempo, you've got your time signature, you've got your locators and their positioning, and then you can see if your metronome is on and off. You can turn on looping, and then these are your punch-in points. Now, these buttons add and edit. A lot of functionality with buttons within your header is determined by what you have selected within Bitwig. Now, that might sound a bit confusing, but you'll see as we get through this series how you'll use these buttons. As you can see on this new project, I've got an instrument track and an audio track. So if I've got the instrument track selected and I go to edit, that's going to open up and show me edit options that are available to the instrument. If I select my audio track, that's just picking up my vocals, so I'm just going to turn off the record arm and I go to edit. Here you can see edit functions that are associated with an audio track. So just make sure when you go to one of these actions within the header, you've got the right type of track or clip or event selected. These are your undo and redo recording options. You can duplicate what you have selected. So I've got an audio track, I can duplicate it and it creates a new audio track for me over there. And then this is the delete audio button. So I've got that track there, I can delete that and delete that as well. This is a button that's associated with types of tracks. So I can click here. For example, I maybe want to rename the track. Let's say this is a piano, and I could rename that to piano. So that is what the header is. With the header, you've got your transport controls, you've got information pertaining to the project, and you can go in and add extra buttons or pin buttons to that header. For example, I could go to play, and let's say I wanted to pin the enable groove. I would see that groove button appear on the header. Similarly, if I jump to this side over here, maybe I go to the track and I want to pin the rename, I can click that and now I've got the rename tool right there for me. So you can customize what you want to view in your header. Then I just want to jump to the bottom quickly and just talk about these options over here. With this, you're going to open up this inspector panel. So that's just going to open up the left panel showing the inspector. As I said, you've got two different views. You've got an arranger and a clip launcher. At the moment, I'm seeing the arranger, and this is the clip launch section over here. I can jump to my mix window where I'm going to see a sort of more mix console style, also showing the clip launcher. then the editor window is going to show a track that I have selected and show that editor of it. For example, if I select this piano part and then go to the editor, I'm now going to see piano roll for that instrument track. This is going to show me the device panel. So the device panel is this little section over here where you're going to see all the different devices that are added to a track. For example, your instruments and your plugins. And you can also choose to either show the device panel or the mix panel. And then on this side over here, you've just got the right panel, where the right panel shows you your browse panel, which we're going to be showing quite a bit in this video to access content and pull content into a Bitwig project. And there's some other options that you can choose here to show within this right panel. But for this video series, we're going to be focusing a lot on the browse panel. And now in the next video, I'm going to go into more detail on this browse panel and how you can use it. I'll catch you in the next video.